Did the church replace Israel? This idea is often called supersessionism. We often refer to it as replacement theology. It touches on God's covenants, the role of Israel and his plan, and the church's identity today. So it's a lot of theological ideas all wrapped up into this one topic. It's also one of the key themes of this year's Certainty Conference, hosted by First Baptist Church of New Philadelphia, Ohio. The conference will bring together pastors, teachers, and Bible students to consider why this question is not just a theological question, but a deeply cultural one, especially in light of recent events in the world and ongoing debates about Israel. So to help us navigate this conversation is the pastor of First Baptist Church of New Philadelphia, and I'm joined today by Pastor Troy Stogsdill. Troy, welcome to the show. Walk us through the Certainty Conference. Tell people what it'll look like when they show up in Ohio and what to expect in terms of the teaching and fellowship.
Our Certainty Conference, New Philadelphia, Ohio, is October 5th through the 8th. You'll be greeted with some friendly faces. You'll be greeted with some people that would love to love on you for a few days. And then you'll just hear some great teaching. So we'll be talking about dispensationalism, the history of dispensationalism, how it relates, how it leads us to this view. We'll be talking about what our opponents say, what are their arguments, and try to actually represent them as fairly as possible, and then give some biblical rebuttal to that. We'll be talking about the covenants. We'll be talking about not only covenant theology, but what are those Abrahamic, Davidic? What are those specific covenants to Israel? What's the new covenant? What's that? When is that in fulfillment, which, in the millennium and those sorts of things? We'll be talking about the person of Jesus, both comings, and how those fulfilled promises and prophecies, how they relate. People that will allegorize and spiritualize different promises and prophecies. Well, how's that apply to the first coming of Jesus? All of those prophecies in the Old Testament were literally and physically fulfilled. So that's not true of the second coming, because if you have a covenant view of theology, it can't be, right?
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't the first coming. But anyway, we'll be talking about God's plan, for the nation of Israel, and the restoration of nation of Israel. We're going to go through Romans 9 through 11 and, see how that breaks down in a great doctrinal book to the church. Paul carves out these 3 chapters to talk about Israel's past, Israel's present, and Israel's future, and ultimately God's plan of salvation for the nation of Israel. And so, we'll just do a deep dive into this, and that'll be October 5th through the 8th. We'll kick it off on Sunday morning. Our speakers are going to be Brandon Briscoe. He'll be doing most of the evenings, and so I'm thrilled to have Brandon back again. He was with us last year. Been with us the last few years,
it's
actually,
so much
teaching.
Fun. I appreciate it.
And does a great job, and is perfect for this topic, and I'm thrilled for that. And then in the mornings, we're going to have Alan Shelby. We're going to have Jeff Bartell. We're going to have Sam Miles. We're going to have Brian Hedges. So we're going to have a few more speakers than we've had in the past. And so it's going to be a time that if you can make it, if you can get here, I'd encourage you to do so. There is not a more timely and pertinent topic to what we are dealing with in our churches today. Mm-hmm. And something that our people really need to have a firm handle on, and not just be able to say, like, now this is for the pastors, this is for the educated crowd. No, this is for all of us. It's something that we all need to have a handle on. And so I think you'll get it if you're able to make it. Or, I know we'll have live streaming and that sort of thing. But if you are able to make it, we have some hotel deals. You can find all of that information on lffellowship.com. If you go there, there's a registration. We'd appreciate if you did that. And you can learn about the hotel deals and that sort of thing. But
it's going to be a great time. And we want everybody to come out. We would love for you to join us this year at the Certainty Conference. If you want to learn more about this subject, or grow in your knowledge of God's Word, or just find fellowship with like-minded believers, the Certainty Conference is a great place for you to land. And we'd love, obviously, to meet you and get to know you better there at the conference. But also, we want you to grow in your knowledge of God's Word in every regard, not just this topic, but how the whole of the Bible affects your perspective on ministry, your expectations in God, your prayer life, your spiritual development and growth. come join us at the Living Faith Bible Institute to learn more about God's Word. It'll allow you to stay in your local church, to stay plugged in right where you're at and do ministry and grow in ministry, get discipled among the elders and the leaders and teachers in your church, but then also join us to have a more academic environment, to learn the Bible at a deeper level. We want to support the work that God's doing in your life and in your local church. Visit lfbi.org for more details about our school. It's super flexible, it's super affordable, and we just love to have you join us this next semester. With all that said, we love you. Can't wait to see you again next week for another episode of The Postscript. God bless.